Good day, gentlemen. Trying to be masculine almost killed my relationship because when her and I first started dating, we felt really attracted to each other. But then our honeymoon phase ended. The passion for each other faded, our sex life got worse, and I was honestly scared of losing her because I knew she's a great woman that I would want to spend my life with and build a family with. But now, after almost 7.5 years together, our sex life is better than it has ever been, and we've built a level of love and passion and trust for each other that I didn't even know existed. So how did we get here, and how can you get here as well? Don't worry, I'm gonna compress these 7.5 years of trying stuff, painfully falling on my face and winning in the end, into 6, maybe unconventional lessons for you, brutally honest lessons that no marriage counselor or therapist will ever give you. Because brother, the truth is, you matter. She needs you. Your children or future children need you. This world needs you. So let's get into it. And by the way, don't let the sun fool you. It is freezing right now. We got fresh snow in the mountains. It's 6:45 a.m. right now. I'm freezing already. It's like 4 degrees Celsius, but we're gonna do this anyway. Lesson number 1, changing yourself into who you think other people want you to be is the least masculine thing you can do. Let me break this down for you. I felt lost when it came to improving my relationship until I realized that there are mature and immature forms of masculinity. These archetypes have been used for thousands of years in myths and tales to teach boys and young men how to grow into a great man. And I was specifically stuck in one of these immature patterns, and you might be stuck right there, right now, if you're trying to be more masculine so that your woman feels more attracted to you again. Look, you've already understood that the polarity between the masculine energy and the feminine energy is what leads to long-term attraction and therefore a thriving intimacy in a relationship. And that's great because that is important. But right now you're trying to fake it, just like I was in the past. You're trying to be that hero archetype, or you are in the end being that hero archetype. And the problem here is, or maybe the good thing, depending on which way you look at it, is that women have a very good bullshit detector. She knows when you're playing a role to get something from her, and that's why she shuts down. That's why she doesn't lean further into her feminine, but actually loses trust for you when you're trying to play some role and put on some mask that is actually not you. She knows who you truly are, and I'll go deeper into this in lesson 2, by the way. But for now, you're probably asking yourself, well then, Benny, what's the mature version of the hero? It's the warrior, and here's the practical difference. The hero tries to keep on this mask of perfection. He tries to always seem perfect. He never shares any of his weaknesses or shortcomings because he thinks that sharing them would make him weak. But what actually makes him weak is the fact that he is hiding these weaknesses from other people and from himself, and that's why he never tackles them and never overcomes them. The warrior, he's at peace with his shortcomings, and that's why he can turn them into strengths. Every single man has weaknesses, and your woman knows yours very well. That's why she's always calling them out in subtle or maybe not so subtle ways, right? Maybe you've noticed that. But brother, this man who's trying to be that hero, he's really just so insecure that he doesn't want to share his weaknesses, not even with himself. He doesn't even want to admit them to himself. And I was that guy for years, man. For years, I struggled to ask for help from other people, not just from my girlfriend, right? In business, for example, I was scared to ask for help because I thought, well, if I ask for help, that will make me seem weak. But then I failed over and over again because I was trying to achieve something that I had never done before without asking someone who had done it for advice. That can't work. For all of human history, young men had older men as their mentors, and now we're suddenly saying this is wrong and we have to figure everything out by ourselves. And just because someone turns 18, now they should know how to love a woman. Bullshit. Complete nonsense. And the thing is, the mature version of this, right? The warrior, the mature version of the hero, he doesn't become a crybaby that's crying 24/7 on the floor just because he shares his weaknesses. No, he's just comfortable enough in his own skin, secure enough in himself to share his shortcomings and to ask for help without feeling like less of a man. Because he knows that he needs to ask for help to become who he truly wants to be. Now, why is this so important, and how does this lead to a thriving relationship with a thriving sex life? Simple. This leads me to lesson number 2 that I had to learn to actually build this kind of relationship myself. And lesson 2 is this. Like I said earlier, your woman has a very good bullshit detector. And this is because there is something called feminine intuition, and this is very powerful. Your woman, if she's been with you for some time, she knows who you are right now, but she also knows who you are deep down, who you could be. And she will not stop challenging you until you either become that man or break under the pressure. These red pill man children on the internet, they call this shit testing. Maybe you've heard that expression, but the thing is, it's not a test, it's a challenge. And she's giving you these challenges, even though it might hurt, right? She's not giving them to you to hurt you. She's giving you these challenges for two simple reasons. Number one, she's giving them to you to help you see your weak spots so that you can overcome them, which is a very loving thing to do. And yes, it might hurt, but this is one way of how the feminine helps the masculine grow. Because as David Deida said, the masculine grows by challenge. And number two, the second reason why she's doing this is because she wants to figure out whether she can trust you with her life and potentially with her children's or future children's lives. So yes, this is a pretty big deal. Quick side tangent on feminine intuition, by the way, because a friend of mine actually had the opportunity to ask two very specific men about feminine intuition. And these guys are extremely structured and assertive, and you wouldn't think that they actually know this shit. Their names are Alex Hormozi and Sam Ovens. If you run your own business and you've been on the internet, on YouTube before, and you watch business videos, you know these guys, or at least you should know these guys, right? Especially Sam Ovens, honestly. He's like the OG business YouTuber, right? Dude, my friend asked these guys whether they use their woman's feminine intuition to make decisions in their business, and they both said absolutely. The top guys, they are fully aware of this shit. And yet you're sitting here and like, oh no, feminine intuition doesn't exist. No! The top guys know this shit, brother. Wake the fuck up. One thing I should mention here is that while there are mature and immature forms of masculinity, that also applies to femininity. So some women will challenge you in very immature ways, but the principle still applies. So then what should you do? Well, if she senses some insecurity within you and she's challenging that in subtle or maybe not so subtle ways, what's the best and the worst thing to do? The worst is certainly to get insecure about it, argue about it with her, and pretend like that insecurity doesn't exist. That will just make you an insecure liar in her eyes, because you are one in that sense. And I'm not saying this to judge you, because I've been that guy myself. Brother, when you keep up this facade, all that you're showing to her and to yourself is that you don't actually trust yourself. So then how could she ever trust you? How would there ever be enough trust and connection for her to go into her feminine? That's why she so often closes herself off to you and becomes cold to you, because she can't trust an insecure man. So brother, have some fucking humility, step up to the plate, actually step up to the challenge and conquer that challenge. And this leads me to lesson number 3. If you believe that a man talking about his emotions is weak, then please consider how weak a man who can't talk about his emotions must be. And this is just a popular example, right? Talking about your emotions, but this goes into a much more important principle. Being insecure is not the same as having weaknesses. Everyone has weaknesses. The mature man simply doesn't hide them. He can bring them to the surface because he trusts himself enough to actually show them and to work on them. When I was still so insecure in my relationship, I was simply scared of my own weaknesses and shortcomings. I thought that if I show her my fears and my insecurities, she would leave me. But in reality, not only did me hiding these weaknesses and trying to keep up this perfect facade make her see how insecure I truly was and how little I trusted myself and how little she could therefore trust me, but it also alienated her. It disconnected us. And here's why. We all know these people who try to seem so perfect, who keep up this facade of perfection, never share anything about themselves that's like vulnerable, that could make them weak. And we know they're bullshitting. We just instantly know that something is off, and that alienates us, right? That person is like an alien to us. They're weird, they're different. We can't trust them. And we might not even know exactly why, but we have this intuitive sense as humans. We instinctually trust someone who is able to share their shortcomings much more than someone who is obviously hiding something. So when your insecurities are causing you to try to seem so perfect in front of your woman, she will naturally feel disconnected to you because she realizes, whether consciously or not, she knows there's something off here. And brother, on top of all of that, you can't overcome your weaknesses by hiding them or hiding from them. The only thing that will do, the only thing that you're communicating to yourself by doing that is that you shouldn't have these insecurities and that you're too weak to actually tackle them. And then they will just become stronger and stronger and stronger. There's this great saying which is, shame can only survive in the dark. The moment you bring shame to the light, it will dissolve. But if you keep it in the dark, it will grow and grow and grow. Let's get into lesson 4, and this one might hurt a bit, but it is very important. I'll make this one quick for you. Looking like the man and being the man are two completely different levels. Maybe you look like that guy on the outside, right? The good body, the money, the nice car, whatever. But on the inside, you still feel like the boy. Why? Because you haven't faced the boy yet. You've been avoiding the boy. And I've done the same thing for years, and I wondered why I still feel so small even though I've achieved so much. Thankfully, I eventually built up the courage to ask for help with this without feeling like less of a man because I asked for help, right? And then one of my early mentors, he told me this. He said to me, let's say you have a baby and it's crying. What does that baby need? I was like, well, it needs attention. It needs care, right? And then it will stop crying. He was like, exactly. And then he asked me, what happens if you don't give that attention and that care to that baby? I was like, well, it will continue crying and probably start crying louder and throw a tantrum and throw stuff around, whatever, right? It will get louder and louder and louder. And he was like, exactly. And then he told me the same thing happens with your inner boy, your inner child, as people say. The longer you avoid that boy, the louder he will become to try to get your attention, for you to finally look there and finally give that attention to him. And look, I know this sounds a bit woo-woo, a bit out there, but just listen to what I'm about to say here, because this might help you actually figure out why you did certain things or are maybe still doing certain things that you don't actually want to do. Because this boy trying to get your attention usually starts with a small voice in the back of your head that just grows louder and louder and louder. But when that isn't enough to get your attention, you might suddenly catch yourself developing certain addictions, or you might see yourself sabotaging your business or sabotaging a perfectly healthy relationship, right? And a lot of this is usually tied to you not having addressed that inner boy. And brother, I feel you here. This isn't easy. This is actually very difficult, but it has to be done. You have to understand that if everything was stripped away from you and the only thing that was left was you as a person, naked, if you feel exposed and unsure of yourself in that scenario, then you have to understand that those things that were taken away from you were simply crutches that helped you avoid facing yourself. And luckily enough, I had mentors early on who taught me this stuff. So for example, I've always wanted a nice vintage watch, but I only bought one when I was certain that it would not change the way that I see myself and the way that I carry myself around other people. Now, lesson 5. A lot of men on the internet are telling you that you should lead your woman, and it's true. But 99% of these men aren't actually leading women, they're controlling them, because they're still little boys who are afraid of the power of the feminine. Because leading a woman doesn't have any negative impact on her. True leadership is calm and loving and empowering. It leads by helping her build the self and the life that she wants and deserves. It doesn't push her down or ignore her opinion to strengthen your own ego. Little boys rule. Men lead, and they lead from the back, which means they empower and they incorporate her strengths and capacities, like that feminine intuition that we talked about earlier. Because honestly, it's simple. In relationships, if one partner loses, both partners lose. But if one partner wins without the other partner losing, then both partners win. You empowering your woman only takes away from you if you believe that relationships are a zero-sum game, a competition, which a lot of them are, but they shouldn't be. They should be a collaboration, and my relationship certainly is that now, but it takes work to get here. I want to be very clear about one thing, because there's a lot of men who are scared of becoming a better man for their woman and caring for her and empowering her and loving her better because they're scared of being used. But the men who use a few delusional Miami women who say all men are bad and you should just use men for money and all this bullshit, The men who use these women as an excuse to not become the best men that they can be and to care for women and to protect women, these men are passively feeding this movement of weak men who hurt women, children, other men, and society at large. I'm saying this because I've actually partially fallen into this trap myself. I have a lot of understanding and empathy for these guys, but in a world where there are forums on how to best sexually assault your wife, strong men need to set boundaries for weak men and then help those weak men. Not go to war against them, but help them. Because we as men are not the problem. We have problems and we can support each other in overcoming them. And that's what we should focus on. Now, I want to calm down here again. I get very passionate about this topic because I think there's a lot going wrong here. And I think we have a great opportunity to actually do something right here. But I want to say one more thing on this. And please don't let your political thing and whatever get into this. Just see the truth in what I'm saying here, because I didn't see the truth in what I'm saying here in the past. Now, what I was about to say here, and this is a great lesson actually for you, especially if you want to be a father one day. Someone's bad actions don't make them a bad person. Maybe you were told this as a child, right? I was in many ways. And maybe you were the same way, where you did something bad and that made you a bad person. The problem with that is the moment we buy into that lie that we are a bad person, we will adopt that identity and we will continue doing bad things. If you tell someone over and over again that they're bad, they will eventually just adopt that as their identity and continue doing bad things. But if you separate the two, their actions and their identity, and you tell them, hey, you did something bad, but that does not mean that you're a bad person, then you actually give that person the opportunity to become better. And you start with yourself here. You do this for yourself. You change your self-talk. Because, brother, maybe right now you're beating yourself up over every single little bullshit action that you did wrong. If you could just realize, okay, actually, I did something bad, but that doesn't mean that I'm a bad person. I'm actually still a good person. I just did something bad. That's okay. Now, let's get into lesson number 6, because this is by far the most important lesson in this entire video, because I always keep the most important, most valuable, most life-changing lessons to the end of these videos for guys like you, who are actually fully committed to improving their relationship and becoming a better man, a high-level lover, like I say. Because you're not just doing that for yourself, you're also doing it for your woman, future wife, and you're doing it for your children or future children. And I want to commend you for that, because like I said earlier, you matter. We need you, brother. So let's get into this lesson. There's 3 stages of relationships, and no, you don't always start in stage 1. A lot of relationships nowadays actually start in stage 2, but a lot of men who are trying to become more masculine, they get stuck in stage 1, or they even go backwards from stage 2 back to stage 1. Let me break this down for you. Stage 1 is the dependency relationship. This is what our grandparents and some of our parents still had. This is where the man depends on the woman for sexual and emotional intimacy, and the woman depends on the man for physical and financial safety. And if you know anything about the polarity between masculine and feminine and the attraction that comes from that, you can see that there's a lot of it here, a lot of attraction. But if you know anything about love and trust, you can see that there's very little here, most likely. And that means that in those relationships, yes, there is a lot of passionate lovemaking, but also a lot of passionate fights. And you don't want that second part, do you? Well, thankfully, there is a second stage of relationships. And this is actually where we have, as a society, moved to more and more. It's the 50-50 relationship. And no, this is actually not a bad development. This is actually a necessary development for us to get to stage 3. Let me explain. The focus here is on fairness and equality and understanding and compassion. And of course, this leads to a lot of love and trust building, but the attractive qualities between the masculine and the feminine kind of get lost here. So if you're in a relationship like this, it would feel more like you're loving friends or roommates. And we also don't want that, do we? But again, despite what all these self-proclaimed hyper-masculine guys on the internet are saying, this is actually a good development, because there is a third stage. But guys who are stuck in the immature forms of masculinity, they are often addicted to this fiery passion of sex, and they think that the stage 2 is bad because there is very little passion and polarity here. So then they revert right back to stage 1 and they miss out on stage 3 entirely. Now, as you you've maybe already guessed, you reach the third stage of relationships when you combine love and trust with polarity and passion. And you can only get here after you've gone through stage 2, after you've built a level of love and trust that makes both of you feel secure enough to not be afraid of your differences anymore, but actually lean into them, embrace them, and with that bring the polarity between masculine and feminine back. And brother, I want to be honest with you, because you feel great right now, because you've locked in for this entire video, you've learned so much, and you actually feel like you can turn your relationship around. But I don't want to be a dick here, but I want to be honest with you, because that's what we as men should do for each other. You feel all great, you feel all accomplished right now, but you haven't done anything yet. You haven't changed anything. Your relationship hasn't changed one bit. You are in the exact same situation that you were in before you watched this video, and you know it. You have to now go and do the work. You have to implement this stuff. And while I've given you as much as I could in this video, I simply don't know the exact details of your situation. So maybe you don't know exactly what to do now to get to that third stage, or maybe you do know exactly what to do, but you don't have the confidence and the courage yet to actually do it. If that's you and you want to take your relationship to that higher level, then I want to offer you my help. What you can do is you can apply for a free discovery call with me personally. And yes, this is free, and no, there's no bullshit hidden cost, because this is not a free coaching call. This call is there for you and me to discuss where you are at right now, where your relationship is at right now, and then where you want to take yourself and your relationship, what your goal is. Because this way, we can figure out whether what I'm offering right now is actually valuable to you. If it's not, no worries. There is zero pressure here. I simply want to open a door for you like other men in the past have opened doors for me, but you still have to walk through that door yourself. If this sounds interesting to you, you can just click the link in the description of this video. It takes you to an application form. You fill out that application. That takes less than 3 minutes, and then I'll talk to you on that discovery call. Speak soon. Have a great day.